Welcome back. We have a new episode of Big Brother this evening, and shit done hit the fan post nomination ceremony. Last episode, when we checked in, Devins nominated Jason, Melody, and Lyric, and an argument broke out. And then we were left with a cliffhanger. We follow up this episode with the remainder of that argument. And Angela then called Jason a bitch. Angela had a good 5 to 10 monologue about how Jason ain't shit and how he's a liar and how he used his sexuality to manipulate her and to pull empathy from her. And she even knew that when she hugged him and walked away, he made a face to the camera. Now, what they didn't really say in that moment was that information came from Drew, but then Drew said it in the confessional, which is why he was quiet during the fight. And Jason and Angela, they were just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But I'm going to give that fight to Angela. Because there were moments where Jason was speechless. Then he was just fumbling the words. He just didn't know what to say. Then he started to deflect because he really didn't have a response as to why he was using personal things to manipulate Angela. Like, he kept saying stuff like, oh, he wanted his own experience. He hasn't played before. But that has nothing to do with you using, well, from Angela's standpoint, your sexuality, me having conversation about my gay son, me being a maternal figure for you in this house, you crying in my arms. Like, that doesn't have anything to do with your first time playing. And because this conversation happened in front of the entire house, it exposed Jason to everyone. So now moving forward, even if he does stay this week, people just aren't going to trust him. And like I said, maybe in a previous episode or 2 episodes ago, Jason's biggest mistake was overestimating his relationship with Drew. I know they had the Latino connection, and I get it, right? Even with D to an extent. But it's only week 2, and you got to keep some things very tight to your chest. And something like that, which is detrimental to your game, just don't even say it at all. Like, if I'm out here throwing hinky votes in a diary room, I'm not telling anyone that. I'm not even going to tell my mom that information if she's in the house with me. Like, I'm just not going to do it. For what? So Jason's mouth got him into a lot of trouble. And then after that, Rome had to share his piece to try to defend his name, because it also came out, Angela revealed that Rome essentially threw his alliance under the bus, which it didn't necessarily happen that way. And Devins also confirmed it during the nominations ceremony. So essentially what happened, if you don't remember, Devins asked who Rome wanted to protect from his side of the house. He threw out a bunch of names. Devins was like, nah, give me 2. And he said Lyric and Jason. Ironically, Lyric and Jason were the ones nominated. But in the midst of that, Angela used that information to show Rome's allies that he did not have their best interests. And then that's where you see the montage of Lala crying. At some point, you see Melody get up from the table and cry because she's now nominated. It was just a mess. Like, and then even after that, Haley was getting her 2 cents in, and Rome called her a snarky bitch. And then that's where things really went left. Like, you see Barrett of all people stand up. Mind you, I don't even know what Barrett's voice sounds like. Like the brother's been laying super low. We know he's playing, but he's been laying real low, which is how you're supposed to do it, right? Chuck gets up. They're trying to remove Rome from the situation. Haley in the confessional is like, dang, all I said was X, Y, and Z. And if you can't take that from a woman, then you're gonna have a problem in this game. I mean, and she's right to an extent, but also Rome was backwards against the wall. I don't condone Rome for calling anyone a bitch, right? Um, and Haley, she always got something to say. And I've been saying this, like, there's something about Haley that's not sitting right with me. That's not sitting right with me. But she done did something yesterday that I'll talk about on the live feed section at the end of the episode that is validating. It's validating how I'm feeling about her. It's validating how I'm feeling about her. So Lala is crashing out. She no longer is going to trust Rome. She's forgiven him. She kind of felt like Rome played the victim. So when Lala had the conversation with Rome, Rome started crying. Although I didn't necessarily see any tears. Clock it. Didn't even see tears in the confessional. Clock it. And Lala's like, well, damn, like I'm the one who was hurt and I'm over here consoling you. I can forgive you, but I can't trust you. And I feel like that's going to hurt Rome in his end game, which his end game might happen tomorrow night, but we about to get there. Then, because of the situation, Rome felt like he put Lyric in. They decided to have a fake breakup. So they're going to tell everyone in the house that they're no longer together, even though they are. So you got Lyric flirting with all these people, trying to like remove the target from her back. Then she goes up to Devins, telling Devins to put up Rome as a replacement, take her off the block. And in her mind, she thinks that's a great idea. But Devins has already caught on. Drew has already caught on. And Devins is going to do what he wants to do anyway. He takes Lyric off the block and puts up Rome. So on the block, you got Jason, Melody, and Rome. Now, I was really surprised by that because I felt like the best case scenario to get all Rome's closest allies out is to take Melody off the block and put up Rome. That way, in the event that Rome wins the blockbuster and we can't get him out, we can still get his closest ally out, Lyric. Or we can get his other closest ally out, Jason. Like, one of them got to go. But if you leave Melody up there, the house could flip and vote her out. And then you still got Jason, Lyric, and Rome. But we're going to see. We're going to see how it plays out tomorrow night. But I'm a little concerned. And I forgot to mention, Devins won the Power of Veto. So, and he chose to use it. So, continuing on, let's go to our house dynamics. We have this lovely graphic created by @BillyBiggs_ on X. And we actually have a new alliance that was formed. All women. We have Angela and Dee are now working with Taylor and Latrice. Remember I just said someone just needs to scoop Taylor up? Words have power. Words are like spells. Taylor got scooped up. Now, Taylor has admitted, I'm not sure if it was specifically on the live feeds, that she doesn't necessarily trust Dee and Angela, but she's going to work with them. I respect it because this is Big Brother and people are just grabbing alliance members left and right. Taylor and Lala both have been on the outskirts thus far, especially with Lala's crash out. So they need some people that they can at least speak game to, right? Now, we know that Angela and Dee are working close together. I don't know if Taylor and Lala know that yet, but Taylor to me is someone who doesn't seem like she's going to talk too much. Now, Lala, I'm interested to see how this is going to work with Angela because from the rip, Lala was saying she didn't necessarily want to work with Angela long term. And Angela said in the nomination ceremony that Jason has been pitting Latrice and Angela against each other. So at least they were able to have some type of common ground, at least going into week 3. Then, we have the red corner, which consists of Dee, Devins, Camu, Haley, and Chuck. And Camu and Haley kind of have like a little showman situation going on. Just a little bit. Just a little flirtatious actions going on. And then we have Toolshed. I think I was calling it Toolbar last episode. Toolshed. Remember, there's so many alliances, so just bear with me. Which consists of Angela, Dee, Devins, Camu, Haley, and Chuck. And, Barrett and Drew. Forgot about those two. But then we have the Dapper Dans, which is also a newly formed alliance, which consists of Barrett, Devin, Drew, and Yash. Shout out to Yash finally getting in an alliance. We love that. We love that. Then we got the Icons, which consists of Angela, Dee, and Devins, which was created the first week. Then Rome's alliance has completely dissolved, sadly, and a lot of his old alliance members are on the outskirts. But you have Rome, who's in a showmance, but publicly they broke up, relationship with Lyric. Apparently, they've told each other they loved each other already. I mean, didn't know this was Love is Blind. Didn't know this was Love Island. But hey, as long as it advances you in the game, I'm not even mad at it. Then we have Rome still closely aligned with Jason. Jason is closely aligned with Taylor. Mallory is closely aligned with Barrett. Mallory is also closely aligned with Lyric. Mallory and Melody have mended fences, and they're still closely aligned, I guess. Also, Drew and Melody have a bit of a showmance going on. And then Chuck and Lyric have been flirting since now Lyric is back in the streets because she allegedly broke up with Rome. And that's where our house dynamics are as of week 2. Now, watching this episode, we have 3 breakout stars, and with no surprise, Angela is one of the breakout stars. Some people might disagree, and I'm just going to say it. She definitely owned Jason in that argument. He was fumbling over words. He really couldn't defend himself. Even his lies didn't even make sense. Granted, her monologue was a little long. Hey, but that's Angela. That's how she rolls. That's how she speaks. That's how she communicates. Her message was conveyed. It was conveyed. We all got it. Jason ain't shit. And Angela also, this is not really showing the episode, but she's been clocking Drew lately. Drew is the rat floater, right? And this is going to come up in our target chart. But yeah, she and Dee have been clocking Drew. And I'm a little worried for Drew's safety down the line, but we're going to get there. But to me, Angela, of course, is a breakout star this episode. Rome, another breakout star. And remember, breakout star does not mean good gameplay, bad gameplay. It just means they got a lot of camera time on the episode. People love to hate them. Very controversial. You know, you get it. But Rome, to me, in the midst of all this chaos, handled himself quite well. Even in the argument, even when him challenging Angela, handled himself. The Haley situation wasn't handled well. But, you know, there's a lot of different emotions here at play. People are upset. People are in their feelings. Whatever the case may be. We don't call women bitches. Point blank, period. Could have handled himself better on that. But then he did some really good damage control with Devins, or tried to. And Devins said that he was very impressed with him, which means he still has to go because his gameplay is that good. I can't even get mad at it. Like, the boy does have a great gameplay. I mean, even like the crying with Lala. I clocked that there was no tears. I'm not sure if Lala clocked that because she was holding him. Amazing. Even the idea that Lyric, we need to break up. Fake breakup. I like that. I like that. It's like, I respect a player who is going to do any and everything to stay in the game. Like, he's going down without a fight. Yeah, I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it. And I feel like he handled himself going on the block. He saw it coming. But hey, at least his girl Lyric is off. So really, now he just has to win the blockbuster to guarantee his own safety so that he can enjoy another week in the house with Lyric. Then my third breakout star, which might be an unpopular opinion, I'm going to give it to Melody. And I'm going to give it to Melody because up until this point, to me, Melody hasn't really been in a situation where she could show us vulnerability. She's been crying. She's been amping herself up for challenges. Um, she's really been trying to stay in the game. She's been doing pitches. She's been fighting for her life. I personally like Melody. I was a little down on her in the preseason, but I feel like she understands the game. She just might be on the wrong side of the house right now. But I feel like if she survives this week, I could see her going well into jury, maybe into the final four. That might be a reach, but Melody is very level headed, and I don't know. I see the future. I see the path with her. And this episode, I felt bad for her because it almost felt like she was collateral damage. But yeah, those are our breakout stars for the episode. Now, power rankings. Our house guests who are in the best position. So we also have this target chart created by Billy Biggs _ on X, and it shows us each player in the game and their targets. So first up, Barrett. Going into week 3, he is really no one's target, with the exception of like your Angelas. And I think that's it because Barrett and Drew to me are playing the same game, except Barrett is more covert and Drew is more overt. And I feel like that's why they get along so well because they're so much alike. And that's why there's balance. And they pretty much are playing hand in hand with each other. But like I said, Drew is actually catching more heat than Barrett. Barrett, he would be even in a better position if his little showman's attempt with D would have really worked. But I don't think it did. Allegedly, D thinks he's gay, which, hey, there's nothing wrong with being gay. But because of that, she's not that attracted to him. So if he's going to get into showmates, he's going to have to try it with someone else. But it doesn't mean him and D can't be friends and strong alliance members. But Barrett is very well integrated. And remember, he's a super fan. He has a podcast and he understands the foundations of Big Brother. So I also see him going pretty far in this game unless he's sniped randomly. Also, we mentioned her last episode. Taylor is also in a great position. She's no one's target. And remember I said I was afraid for Taylor because I didn't think anybody would scoop her up. But now she's been scooped up by D'Angela and Lala. So if she keeps her head into the game, she could prove herself as a strong alliance member. And I could see them keeping her safe. I know that, she's safe obviously this week because the veto was used and she wasn't nominated. But I think she'll be safe for at least another 2 or 3 weeks, like I said, unless Haley or Chuck wins head of household, which is not unlikely because they're very athletic. And this seems like this is a very comp heavy season because everyone's pretty athletic for the most part. I mean, even Lala, she has like essentially a 6-pack and she's almost 60. Amazing. But everyone's stacked, right? And then the third person that's in a great position to me is Yash. Like, who would have thought him and Taylor both being nominated would have completely flipped their safety in this house? Like, normally people who are nominated get put right back on the block, but not on this season. Yash also has joined an alliance. People like him. He's keeping a pretty low profile, but is giving very much he's one of the bros. He wants to work specifically with men, which that happens in Big Brother. I get it. So yeah, I think those 3 are safe. Definitely going beyond week 3. I feel like the only way they get nominated is if they're put up as a pawn. But I feel like they're all very capable of winning a challenge, whether it's a veto or blockbuster, to save themselves. So, my 3 house guests that are the most vulnerable, we're going to go with the nominees, which are Rome, Jason, and Melody. And based on our graphic, we have the votes to evict, potentially, as of today, Wednesday, how the votes will go in multiple scenarios. In the event that Melody wins the blockbuster and we have Rome and Jason on the block, Rome goes home 12-1. In the event that Jason wins blockbuster and we have Rome and Melody on the block, Rome goes home 12-1. In the event that Rome wins blockbuster, Jason goes home 9-4 against Melody. Now, me personally, Rome is at most at risk. That was the plan from the very beginning. Like, this backdoor has been implemented. He didn't even get to compete in the veto. And now he was exposed in all facets of the house. He's in a showmance. He was the head of an alliance. There's no reason to keep him. There's no reason. If he can pull this off in the next couple of days to stay, if he can get some votes, I'm gonna hand it to him. He's a great Big Brother player because it's not looking good. Like, if I was in the house, I would vote him out too. Just cause, even if I liked him, I would vote him out. He's too much of a threat. Jason is such a wild card. I feel like people might vote him off just because they don't know if he's lying or ever telling the truth. He's such a gamer, right? And being a gamer is beneficial as long as you're stealthy. And Jason got a little sloppy. So I'm actually surprised he doesn't have. I'm surprised that he got some votes. He doesn't have many votes against Rome. But I guess because Rome is such a threat, Rome got to go. But against Melody, and like I said, Melody's one of those players like Taylor. You could pick her up. She's loyal, it seems like, until she's not. She has her head on her shoulder. She could probably win a competition. So Melody to me is someone that you would want to keep around for the time being. Jason, he's just so unpredictable. He's just so unpredictable. So he would have to go. And I feel like out of the 3, Melody is the least vulnerable. Now, there's been some rumblings from Angela, because Angela has been clocking Drew's tea. Melody is close to Drew, and Angela's operating from a place of, if we eliminate Melody, we weaken Drew. Not necessarily, because I don't know if Angela realizes, but Drew is very integrated in this game. So even if he loses Melody, he still has multiple allies. He ain't going nowhere. If anything, you just ruined a potential showmance for the summer. But other than that, you're not really doing much with that. And then you're keeping 2 really big threats in the game, Jason and Rome. Now, before we dive into a sprinkle of some live feeds updates, I'm going to bring it to my book, 48 Laws of Power. And I'm going to say that the law that we're focusing on this week is Law 15. Crush your enemy totally. All great leaders since Moses have been known that a feared enemy must be crushed completely. Sometimes they have learned this the hard way. If one ember is left alight, no matter how dimly it smolders, a fire will eventually break out. More is lost through slopping halfway than through total annihilation. The enemy will recover and will seek revenge. Crush him, not only in body but in spirit. Wasn't Rome crushed this week? Devins crushed his enemy completely. It just, everything was aligned in Devin's favor. Like the fact that Rome was not selected to participate in the veto, boom. The fact that Rome's game was completely exposed, especially by Angela, boom. And I also believe going into next week, Devins could get nominated as collateral damage, but I don't think that people are too mad at him. So that law definitely worked out in his favor. Now, some live feed spoilers, right? So Rome, in his attempt to save himself, he calls a meeting with the bros, which includes your Barretts, your Drew, your Yash, your Chuck, your Kamu, but leaves out Jason, who he's nominated against, and Devins, who's the head of household, because Devins can't vote. And Rome is pretty much pitching himself on why he should stay. Makes sense. But not to D. No, not to D. D saw what was happening, went up into that room, and said, "Not on my watch," and broke that shit all the way up. She even made reference to the fact that they had their alliance meeting and they went and let Rome into the room and how that made him feel. So if he felt some type of way with doing that, why would he do that to Jason and Devins? Which, yeah, sounds good. But D, you've been doing that the whole game. But they don't know that. So D squashed that completely. Also, the show didn't show it to the extent, but Lyric has been really flirting with Chuck and Yash. Like, Yash thinks that him and Lyric might have a chance once Rome leaves. I'm not mad at it. Apparently on X, they're saying Lyric graduated from the school of Allison Irwin from Big Brother 4. And we love a femme fatale. Listen, I'm not mad at it at all. Also, Haley. Remember I told you about them social skills? Her and Drew were having this conversation about Melody, and Haley pretty much says that she doesn't like how Melody switches up how she communicates and that she sounds ghetto sometimes. You know how I feel about the word ghetto and when it's used by non-black people. Haley, you want thin ice. Matter of fact, the ice is broken. And then the fact that Drew agreed, which Rat Floater, he'll agree with anything. He don't care. But still, Haley, watch your mouth. Not too much. That was insane. I'm not even going to dive into that because it's giving, I don't know if it's a microaggression towards someone, even if they're not black or whatever. But that language and who you're targeting and who you don't like is adding up, Haley. It's adding up. Like, Haley, give me a reason to like you. Come on, give me a reason. Give me a reason. I'm begging you. Give me a reason, please. I'm asking. Also in live feeds, Camu made a strong pitch to Devins to not take Lyric off. Like, he was really pressing him to take Melody off. Obviously, it didn't work, but it made me look at Camu a little differently because Camu and I are on the same page. Because, like, keep them both on the block, Lyric and Rome. Come on, let's get one of them out. So I respect that. Other than that, that's where I'm at with the live feeds. Like, I might have missed some important information. Work has been a little crazy, but I've been keeping up. But let me know what you think. Make sure you comment, make sure you like, make sure you share with friends. I'm coming back with another episode after the eviction, and we're going to have our first guest for the season. I'm not going to tell you who it is, but you're going to be really surprised. They're a good friend of mine, and they're ready to talk about Big Brother this season. So be sure to catch the eviction tomorrow night. Be sure to comment on social media with me. I'm going to have a lot of different opinions. I'm going to be hype. And I can't wait to talk to you again. Make sure you get some great rest. And we will chat very soon. Take care.